The July 18, 2024 meeting of the Woodbridge Township Board of Education meeting will please come to order. Roll call, Mr. Secretary.
Ms. Anderson.
Here.
Mr. Delapietro.
Here.
Ms. Perez.
Here.
Mr. Sedana.
Here.
Mr. Treebwasser.
Here.
Mr. Velez.
Here.
And Mr. Harris.
Here. Mr. Secretary, as required by the Sunshine Law, please read the notice of meetings.
Thank you, Mr. President. The New Jersey Open Public Meetings Law was enacted to ensure the right of the public to have advance notice of and to attend the meetings of public bodies at which any business affecting their interest is discussed or acted upon. In accordance with the provisions of this Act, the Board of Education has caused notice of this meeting to be published by having the date, time, and place thereof posted as follows. On January 25th, 2024, emailed to the Home News Tribune, the Star Ledger, and the Municipal Clerk's Office, posted in Ross Street School Number 11, and the Board of Education Administration Building, also published on the school district website.
Thank you, Mr. Wolferman. Ms. Anderson, would you please read the closed session statement, please?
Thank you, Mr. President. In compliance with the Sunshine Law, the board must go into closed session in order to discuss subjects exempted from the public portion of our meeting. The discussions to be held in closed session will be regarding personnel matters, and the board will receive attorney-client advice. Any information regarding the closed session discussion will be released to the public when the reasons for discussing these matters in closed session no longer exist.
Thank you, Ms. Anderson. I have a motion by Ms. Anderson. Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, I have a motion by Ms. Anderson, seconded by Mr. Treebwasser. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Carried. We'll be out as soon as we finish the closed session statement, typically on or before 6:30 p.m. All right, thank you. Please rise for a salute to the flag and a moment of silence. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay. Do I have a motion to reconvene?
So motion.
Okay.
Second.
All right, I have a motion by Mr. Treebwasser, seconded by Mr. Delapietro. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Carried. Roll call, Mr. Secretary.
Ms. Anderson.
Here.
Ms. Bourdain.
Here.
Mr. Delapietro.
Here.
Mr. Mohammed.
Here.
Ms. Perez.
Here.
Mr. Sedana.
Here.
Mr. Treebwasser.
Here.
Mr. Velez.
Here.
Mr. Harris.
Here. Will someone make a motion to approve the minutes of the previous meetings?
So motion.
Okay.
Second.
Do I have a second? I have any additions or corrections? Seeing none, I have a motion by Mr. Delapietro, seconded by Mr. Sedana. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Seeing none, carried. Mr. Secretary, please state for the record any notices of bids received by the board.
Thank you, Mr. President. The following were opened for the 2024-25 school year. July 10th, 2024, RFP 2503 for professional learning consultants for elementary, and also 2504 for professional learning consultants for middle school math. On July 11th, 2024, RFP 2506 professional development and science of reading, and 2506 elementary language arts coaching and consulting services.
Thank you, Ms. Wolferman. Dr. Massimino, please state for the record the superintendent's reports for the month of June 2024.
Thank you, Mr. President. I present the following reports: student registers and fire drill reports, suspension reports for elementary and secondary schools, bomb threat reports, and reports of the attendance officers.
Thank you, Dr. Massimino. The Woodbridge Township Board of Education welcomes and encourages active, productive, and respectful participation by members of the public and seeks to protect the First Amendment rights of those who wish to engage in the exercise of free speech at this Board of Education meeting. Members of the public are requested to express themselves in a civil manner with due respect for the dignity and privacy of those whose legal rights may be impacted. The public is now invited to speak regarding the agendas being presented this evening. When you come to the microphone, please state your name and the section of the township in which you reside, along with the specific agenda item you wish to discuss. As per Regulation 1100D, comments must be limited to no more than 5 minutes. No response will be given until you have completed your opportunity to speak. If you wish to speak, please come to the microphone. Okay. Okay. Seeing none, superintendent's agenda. Dr. Massimino, do you have any recommendations this evening?
Mr. President, I have 15 items to present to the board this evening.
Okay. Thank you, Dr. Massimino. I have a motion by Dr. Massimino's agenda. Do I have a second?
So motion.
Okay. I have a motion by Dr. I have a motion by Mr. Truebwasser, seconded by Mr. Velez. Are there any comments or questions from the board? I think you should get credit for the motion. You know, you were the one who introduced it.
Thank you.
So I think that's the way it ought to work. All right, roll call, Mr. Secretary.
Ms. Anderson,
Yes.
Ms. Bourdain,
Yes.
Mr. Delapietro,
Yes.
Mr. Mohammed.
Yes, on all items with the exception of number 15.
You're abstaining on 15?
Abstaining on 15.
Thank you. Ms. Perez?
Mr. President, I will be abstaining on item number 15 in the name of Rutgers. Yes to all other items.
Thank you. Mr. Sedana?
Yes.
Mr. Treebwasser?
Yes.
Mr. Velez?
Yes.
And Mr. Harris.
Yes. Communication, Policy, and Planning, Mr. Mohammed.
Mr. President, the Communication, Policy, and Planning Committee, on recommendation of the Superintendent of Schools, presents the following one item. I move for the adoption of the foregoing.
I have a motion by Mr. Mohammed. Do I have a second?
Second?
I have a motion by Mr. Mohammed, seconded by Ms. Anderson. Any comments or questions from the board? For the public's edification, this one item on policy and planning tonight is a schedule change for the October board meeting. It's moving from Thursday, October 17 to Wednesday, October 16, just one day earlier. Any other comments or questions? Seeing none, roll call, Mr. Secretary.
Ms. Anderson,
Yes.
Ms. Bourdain,
Yes.
Mr. Delapietro,
Yes.
Mr. Mohammed,
Yes.
Ms. Perez.
Yes.
Mr. Sedana,
Yes.
Mr. Treebwasser,
Yes.
Mr. Velez,
Yes.
Mr. Harris.
Yes. Mr. Pastorino, please provide an overview of the spring 2024 NJ GPA results as well as the 2024 Access for ELLs 2.0 report, please.
Thank you, Mr. Harris. Thank you, Mr. Harris. The 2023-2024 NJ GPA was taken by all the 11th grade students in addition to the 12th grade students who did not meet with success during the 22-23 school year. That's a part of the meeting the New Jersey Department of Education graduation requirement. The information from this is used to make determinations with regard to graduation readiness and placement in special programs. Individual student reports went out earlier this month, and questions with regard to your child's results should be directed to your child's respective counselor. In regard to the Access for ELLs, this is the WIDA's suite of summative English language proficiency assessments. These are taken annually by all students in our ELL program from grades K through 12. They were tested between mid-February and the end of April. This is used to determine the placement in the ESL program as well as matriculation from the program. The score reports were sent home in the middle of June, and those questions regarding students' individual access test scores should be directed towards the child's teacher in grades K to 8 as well as the counselors from 9 to 12.
Okay. Thank you very much, Mr. Pastorino. We're now back to, that was item number 1 and number 2 on the curriculum agenda, and we will turn it over officially to the curriculum extracurricular activities and technology committee chair, Mr. Sedana. Do you have any items this evening?
Thank you, Mr. President. The Curriculum, Extracurricular Activities, and Technology Committee, on recommendation of the Superintendent of Schools and the Assistant Superintendent for Curriculum and Instruction, present the following 21 items. I move for the adoption of the foregoing.
Okay, excellent. Thank you, Mr. Sedana. I have a motion by Mr. Sedana. Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay. A motion by Mr. Sedana, seconded by Mr. Treebwasser. Are there any comments or questions from the board? Okay. I want to just give one quick shout out to the administration, specifically the guidance supervisor. Item number 20 on our agenda, there's a robust list of supplemental materials on this agenda. And, I know the committee, myself included, really appreciated this item. Item number 20 has to do with a approval of a course to digital consciousness assembly. So all 15 of our elementary school students, schools worth of their students, I believe at the 4th grade level or 5th grade, I apologize. There's a program that goes around the area, as Mr. Pastorino and Dr. Massimino are familiar with, that teaches students about public and permanent. And that's this initiative to make sure that students understand that what they post online, whether through social media or through blogs or vlogs, that stuff is public and it is permanent, and it could have an immediate impact on their fellow students, their teachers, as well as have a permanent impact on perhaps for the rest of their lives, right? I know when I was in college, it was told to us that when you're out there looking for a job, your future job employers will be looking at your social media profile, how you conduct yourself outside of work, and that could have negative consequences on your future job prospects. So item number 20 is assemblies for our students to ensure that they understand the power of their smartphones, their social media accounts, and so on and so forth. And hopefully it will also contribute to lessening incidences of harassment, intimidation, and bullying, and things of that nature. So I just want to give you a thumbs up, Mr. Pastorino, to you and your team for getting that item on the agenda. Look forward to that program. And also what Mr. Pastorino shared with us for parents who are often still catching up on this technology. Those resources and that information will be available following the assemblies for our parents to make sure that they understand what their kids are have access to on their smartphone or their devices at home. So good stuff. Before I move on, I have to, any other comments or questions? Nope. Excellent. Roll call, Mr. Secretary.
Ms. Anderson.
Yes.
Ms. Bourdain.
Yes.
Mr. Delapetro.
Yes.
Mr. Mohammed.
Yes.
Ms. Perez.
Yes.
Mr. Sedana.
Yes.
Mr. Treebwasser.
Yes.
Mr. Velez.
Yes.
Mr. Harris.
Yes. Finance and Insurance, Mr. Truebosser.
Thank you, Mr. President. The Finance and Insurance Committee, on recommendation of the Superintendent of Schools and the Business Administrative Board Secretary, presents the following 13 items. I move for the adoption of the foregoing.
Thank you. I have a motion by Mr. Truebosser. Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, I have a motion by Mr. Truebosser, seconded by Ms. Perez. Are there any comments or questions from the board? Seeing none, roll call, Mr. Secretary.
Ms. Anderson.
Yes.
Ms. Bourdain.
Yes.
Mr. Delapetro.
Yes.
Mr. Mohammed.
Yes.
Ms. Perez.
Yes.
Mr. Sedana.
Yes.
Mr. Treebwasser.
Yes.
Mr. Velez.
Yes.
Mr. Harris.
Yes. Buildings and Grounds, Ms. Perez.
Thank you, Mr. President. The Buildings and Grounds Committee, on recommendation of the Superintendent of Schools and the Business Administrator Board Secretary, presents the following 3 items. I move for the adoption of foregoing.
Thank you, Ms. Perez. I have a motion by Ms. Perez. Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, I have a motion by Ms. Perez, seconded by Mr. Delapetro. Any comments or questions from the board? Seeing none, roll call, Mr. Secretary.
Ms. Anderson.
Yes.
Ms. Bourdain.
Yes.
Mr. Delapetro.
Yes.
Mr. Mohammed.
Yes.
Ms. Perez.
Yes.
Mr. Sedana.
Yes.
Mr. Treebwasser.
Yes.
Mr. Velez.
Yes.
Mr. Harris.
Yes. Dining and Transportation Agenda, Ms. Perez, back to you.
Thank you, Mr. President. The Dining and Transportation Committee, on recommendation of the Superintendent of Schools and the Business Administrator Board Secretary, presents the following 3 items. I move for the adoption of the foregoing.
I have a motion by Ms. Perez. Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, a motion by Ms. Perez, seconded by Ms. Anderson. Are there any comments or questions from the board? Seeing none, roll call, Mr. Secretary.
Ms. Anderson.
Yes.
Ms. Bourdain.
Yes.
Mr. Delapetro.
Yes.
Mr. Mohammed.
Yes.
Ms. Perez.
Yes.
Mr. Sedana.
Yes.
Mr. Treebwasser.
Yes.
Mr. Velez.
Yes.
Mr. Harris.
Yes. Personnel Agenda, Mr. Delapetro.
Thank you, Mr. President. The Personnel Committee, on recommendation of the Superintendent of Schools and the Assistant Superintendent for Human Resources, presents the following 36 items. I move for the adoption of the foregoing.
Thank you, Mr. Delapetro. I have a motion by Mr. Delapetro. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a motion by Mr. Delapetro, seconded by Mr. Dana. Are there any comments or questions from the board? Seeing none, roll call, Mr. Secretary.
Ms. Anderson.
Yes.
Ms. Bourdain.
Yes.
Mr. Delapetro.
Yes.
Mr. Mohammed.
Yes.
Ms. Perez.
Yes.
Mr. Sedana.
Yes.
Mr. Treebwasser.
Yes.
Mr. Velez.
Yes.
Mr. Harris.
Yes. Is there any old business that should be brought before the attention of the board? Seeing none. Any new business? Anybody? I know someone's got something. I know I do. Anybody, before I go? I only have 2 quick items.
Mr. President, I'd just
Yeah.
like to mention
There
a
we go.
fundraiser that's going to be held on July 27th And it's the David's Touch Foundation. It's a nonprofit organization based here in Woodbridge, and it's actually a motorcycle run that's going to be hosted by the Woodbridge Brewery on Main Street, and all funds are to go to terminally ill children in memory of 9-year-old David, who was a student here in Woodbridge Township. Again, it's David's Touch Foundation. You can find them on social media. It's a great event, not only for bikers to come out and rally, but for the kids to come out and see. It's a really good time. So July 27th, it begins at 11 a.m. at the Woodbridge Brewery on Main Street. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Perez. Look forward to seeing you there. Anybody else? All right, I'll just jump in. 2 quick items here to the district community. The school district is looking for substitute teachers, as many are. In recent years, if you previously thought you were not eligible to serve as a substitute teacher, state of New Jersey, a few years back, reduced the number of college credits required in order to become a substitute teacher. So it's down to 30 college credits. So if you're a college student, please consider, and if you've completed your freshman year, please consider applying. We have a private vendor that runs that program for us in terms of hiring and screening applicants. If you go to ess.com, or if you go right to our district website, right on the front page, we've got a header there that we're looking for substitute teachers. Click on that website, and then the process will flow from there. It takes typically weeks to months to get into the system, get your fingerprints, get your background check. So if you're interested, perhaps later on, but you want to get started now, I would encourage you to do that as soon as possible. Actually, that was the only other one was, and it was per my closing, was that we have 2 board meetings in the month of August, on Thursday, August 15, as well as Thursday, August 29, right here in Rush Street Elementary School, number 11, right here in downtown Woodbridge. Any other comments or questions from the board? Seeing none. We'll now open the meeting for public comment. If you wish to say something, please come to the microphone, provide your name and the section of the township in which you reside. For the record, again, members of the public are requested to express themselves in a civil manner with due respect for the dignity and privacy of those whose legal rights may be impacted. Please limit your comments to no more than 5 minutes in accordance with Regulation 1100D. No response will be given until you have fully completed your comments, so as not to interrupt your 5-minute opportunity to speak. No members of the public remain. Dr. Massimino, anything to offer? Nope. All right. Chair will entertain a motion to adjourn.
So motion.
Okay. I have a motion by Mr. Treeboss, seconded by Mr. Delapietro. All in favor?
Aye.
All right. Any opposed? Carried. Have a good night. We'll see you on August 15th.